Hey guys, so today we're checking out the Old Man Emu front upper control arms fitting all 05 and newer Toyota Tacomas. So in adding a lift to your truck, you are changing up a lot of different suspension angles that can cause some extra wear and tear on some stock components that aren't necessarily made for that added height. Now, one of those components is your upper control arms, and this option will be a great upgraded replacement to flatten out that angle and help when it comes to better drivability. Now, this set of control arms will be for the Tacoma owner that has a lift and is looking for better handling in their truck while also offering some better articulation, since the caster and camber angles on this are increased to 2 inches of lift. Not to mention, these will be incredibly durable with a heavy-duty tubular construction, and these are also going to have forged ball joint housings. Now, these will also come with free pivoting grease-free gyro bushings and even a protective cap for the top of the ball joint, making sure that everything is fully functional and protected. These will also have a nice black E powder coat on top to resist any rusting on the control arms, and of course just look a whole lot better than the factory arms do. Not to mention, you are getting everything in the kit that you need to install this on your Tacoma. You will be reusing that long upper control arm bolt, but you will be getting a new castle nut and new cotter pins for this, so I do like that they include that in the kit. Now, when it comes to price, this will be a more premium choice for control arms at roughly $650. Now, there will be a big range in price when it comes to upper control arms, with the more budget-friendly options usually only working with the stock ride height or being more of a factory-style replacement. Now, on the other hand, other choices that have more of a premium price point like this one does, they might have different features like adjustability in the alignment of the ball joint or high mounting points for maximum articulation and range. Now, I personally think if you're looking to stick with 2 inches of lift and you're in search of a high quality set of control arms that's simple, durable, and to the point, then these are going to be a great kit. Now, as far as install is concerned, this is going to get a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about 2 hours to get the job done with the correct hand tools, and one of our installers here is going to show you how to get that done step by step. So that wraps it up for my review. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a 19mm wrench, a 19mm ratcheting wrench, a hammer, needle nose pliers, vice grips or channel locks, clip remover tool, a couple different size ratchets, a 3/16 Allen wrench, a 7, 10, 12, 17, 19, and 21mm sockets, and a hanger. What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to install some upper control arms on our Tacoma, so let's get started. So our first step is going to be to remove our wheels. This is normally going to be a 21mm socket, but we have aftermarket lug nuts, so I'm going to be using a 19 and a spline key. So now that we have our wheel removed, we can go ahead and remove our 2 covers. Now, it's going to be 5 clips on each one, so I'll get a clip remover tool in there to pop those out. I've got one on the side right here. And then one tucked way up in the top left there. So now with our covers removed, we can go ahead and remove our 2 brake line brackets. It's going to be a 10mm up here and a 12mm at the bottom. So we threw our bolts from our brake line brackets back into place just so we won't lose them. And now we can remove our sway bar end link. So we're going to take a 17mm socket on this nut to get that off. So now coming to the nut on the bottom side of our upper control arm ball joint, we can go ahead and remove this cotter pin. I'm gonna grab a pair of needle nose pliers. It has a hook that goes around this side, so we'll just pull that hook out and then slide it right out. So now we can work on our upper control arm ball joint. We're gonna be loosening this nut. We'll leave it a couple threads on, and then we're gonna take a hammer and bang the side of our spindle to break our ball joint free. So now I'll take a 19mm socket to loosen up this nut. Now we'll come in with our hammer, give it a couple taps until our ball joint pops and our spindle drops down. So now I've got the bottom of our spindle supported by a jack. Now we can finish removing our nut here. And then I'm going to use a caliper hanger tool to hang the spindle onto our strut assembly. So now we can work on the bolt holding in our upper control arm. So we're going to get a 19mm wrench on this side and a 19mm ratcheting wrench on this side. We'll get our nut off and then we can slide our bolt out. So now we can remove our bolt holding in our upper control arm. Now the clearance is tight back here, so you can get a pair of vice grips, clamp around to kind of pull it out, get yourself the clearance you need. This is a very long bolt. This won't compromise any kind of structural integrity. It will just give us the clearance we need. So now comes the fun part of getting this bolt back into place. Now I found it's easier if you slide it through the one side, then we'll fish the bolt up through, slide it through our hole, and get our nut on the other side. So I found it easier if we pull back on these harnesses and slide our bolt in between the metal and the harnesses. So we'll get that through, get our washer on, and then slide our upper control arm through our bolt, and then get it through to the other side. So now once you get to this point, you're going to want to grab your vice grips again, grab onto the metal, and work our bolt the rest of the way through. Now we can grab our washer for the other side, as well as our nut. So now once again, we're gonna take a 19mm wrench on the left side and a 19mm ratcheting wrench on our nut, and we'll tighten this down. So now we can grab our upper control arm, we're gonna slide out our cotter pin and remove our nut. So now we're gonna go ahead and remove our hanger. We have our spindle supported with our jack once again. And then we're gonna slide the upper control arm into our spindle, get our nut on the bottom, and then we can tighten that down and install our cotter pin. So now we can take a 19mm socket on an impact gun to tighten down our castle nut. So now on our stud, we have this little hole that we're going to be fishing our cotter pin through. I'm going to fish this through on the back side so we can see what we're going to do on the front. And then grab yourself a pair of needle nose pliers. We're going to grab onto that bottom side, bend it around our stud, and then take our top side up. Now this is going to make sure that this nut can't back itself out due to the vibrations of your suspension. It'll keep it nice and tight. Now we can reconnect our sway bar end link. And we'll reinstall our nut on the other side. And then we'll tighten that down with our 17mm socket on our impact gun. Now we can reinstall our lower brake line bracket. So we'll slide this piece into our top hole and then our bolt through the bottom. Then we'll finish snugging that up with a 12mm socket. So now we can tackle our top brake line bracket. Now these upper control arms are going to switch the factory bolt to a nut. It's going to be the same 10mm. So we'll remove that, slide our bracket into place, reinstall our nut, and tighten that down with a 10mm socket. So now we can reinstall our covers. Simply just pop our clips back into place. Do the same thing on the other side. And once you're done with that, we can repeat that same process on the other side. So now finally, once we have our upper control arms installed, we're gonna wanna go ahead and make sure that our ball joint is nice and greased up. And after that, we can go ahead and remove our grease fitting with a 7mm socket. And then we're gonna be installing our dust cap and our dust cap screw, which will go in place of the grease fitting. And then we'll tighten that down with a 3/16 Allen wrench. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Old Man Emu front upper control arms for your 2005 to current Tacoma. Thank you for watching, and remember, for all things Tacoma, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.